Hi everyone, hope you're well. This video is an update to my City of London video from a few weeks ago. That video was more focused on history, and this one is more about energy and symbols that I encountered on a recent walk there. So I started here in the churchyard of St Marylebone Parish Church, just off Marylebone High Road, which is actually in Westminster, not the city. So I mentioned this spot in my first video as being reported as an energy portal and said I'd check it out if I was in the area, which I was. The main church nearby is covered in scaffolding at the moment, but the little garden here is small and actually quite peaceful, even though there's traffic running past and construction happening around it. So there's nice trees and benches and lots of people sit there. There's also gravestones, and in particular this one that looks like an Egyptian obelisk. There's also a huge one of these in the City of London and other places in London as well. And I know Washington has one and other cities as well. So they're believed to be protective. They protect cities. Okay, so the actual church has been there since 1817, but there were three previous ones, and this garden is on the site of the previous church. Okay, so I sat there for a little while, and before I went, I did some reading, and this is from andrewgoff.co.uk. He says this garden is said to be a portal called a stargate by modern occultists. And a stargate is a gateway to alternative dimensions and consciousness accessible only by initiates, which made me wonder, who are these initiates and what do they do? Apparently, this gateway portal stretches north to Primrose Hill. And he says in the past, and maybe the present as well, people who live nearby may have been drawing on the occult energy of this portal here to enhance their art. So these are people like Lord Byron, who wrote Jerusalem, Francis Bacon, Robert and Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and Charles Dickens. So you hear terms like gateway and earth portals. I don't have a lot of knowledge about these. Apparently, they're locations on the planet that transport humans instantly from one place to another. And in the past, the Bermuda Triangle was the most famous Stargate portal. Apparently, they open and close during the day. And in 2015, NASA said they recognized them and was studying them and that they were magnetic. It reminds me of that Australian movie from the 70s, Picnic at Hanging Rock, where a bunch of schoolgirls, it's based on a novel, a bunch of schoolgirls go to this picnic place called Hanging Rock, and some of them disappear, never to be seen again. And I think the theory behind that is that they went through some sort of portal. Anyway, so I sat in the garden for a little while and just tried to see if I felt anything. My first thought was, is this language of stargates and portals just another way of describing earth energy? Because I relate more to the idea of earth energy. And here, I mean, the basic earth energy felt good. It was strong. The plants looked good despite the drought. And my hands were tingling a bit, which usually shows there's something there. I also wondered if this might be one of many points where London's Earth Star Chakra energy is stronger. And it might just be because it's a peaceful, beautiful place, more so than just walking along the street, where it's easier to use your intuition and hear your inner voice. So anyway, I did get some messages sitting there, so I'll share them with you. First one was about worry. It was try to worry less. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but it was just a reminder that worry is really draining. So whatever's on your mind, whatever problem or concern or issue there is, try and take action on it or come up with a plan and act on that plan when the time is right. Or if you can, just let it go. Because worry just, it's a drain and it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, second message was kind of cryptic, and it was what's in your hands. And I took this as a metaphor for how we use our time. So, what's in your hands? Is it a smartphone or is it a book? Is it an instrument or is it a computer game? Are you holding and using objects that help and heal or that drain and cause harm? And are your habits and the things you're doing healthy or unhealthy? So, really, it was a just suggestion to think about your time and how you use it and what kind of habits you're in that may not be good for you. And third message I got here was about psychic protection. I talk about this a lot, but this was a slightly different way of coming at it. This was psychic protection against anyone who's being a bully or aggressive or negative or like an energy vampire and it's getting to you. This can be intentional or unintentional. So, first thing to do when that happens, if you can, is to remove yourself from the situation. But I know it's not always possible to do that or do it right in the moment. So, you put up your psychic protection. And the strategy that came to me was to visualize a shell around you like a trampoline, something that things would bounce off. So, other people's negativity will just hit that and bounce off it and go straight back onto them. And I was reminded of the threefold rule from witchcraft. So that's, anything you do to someone else will come back to you threefold, positive or negative. So I would say if you're in that situation, put up that barrier, allow the negativity to bounce off it, and it will just hit the people threefold. You don't have to get revenge or kind of make something bad happen. It's like the laws of nature and magic work on the side of justice. So we need to trust in that. So there were some interesting messages I got there. And then after that, I hadn't intended to go into the city, but I did end up walking through on my way home. So who knows, maybe this garden was a type of portal or something like that, sending me back to the city. So I'll show you some of the pictures I took. This is the Holborn Viaduct, which is one of the entrances into the City of London. And it's got all the symbols on it that I mentioned in the last video. One I want to talk about today is this one, the winged lion. So it's a mythological creature. I don't know if it's got a special name. It's not a griffin. A griffin is an eagle mixed with a lion, but it has the eagle's head. So the winged lion is seen in Venice on the Church of St Mark. It's at the entrance with one paw on a Bible. And lots of other places in Venice have it and other cities as well. So if we think about the lion, it's a symbol of leadership, courage, strength, and power. Lions are said to safeguard buildings and bridges, and this is a type of bridge here. And this circle that its paw is on may be a globe with the victor's foot on the globe. So the message I got from this was, be like this creature, be confident and fearless. Okay, so that's entering into the city, and then got up to St Paul's Cathedral. This has to be one of my favourite buildings anywhere, which is why I've said now there's an energy portal. It's can't remember what I said about St Paul's in the last video, so I'll just review it quickly. There's been several places of worship on this site, on Ludgate Hill. The previous one was a wooden church that burnt down in the Great Fire of London. And before that, there was a Saxon place of worship, Roman temple to one of their gods, and there was originally a stone circle there with a druid school next door to it. I read that on a website called invisibletemple.com. And it also mentioned there was a second stone circle at Westminster Abbey. And that's where I sense the Earth Star chakra the strongest, but St Paul's is a very close second. So there's also Sacred Mount. Well, they were more obvious before the city was built up, but another one at the Tower of London, and apparently a fourth one at Pentonville, a mound in the land that was sacred to the Celtic people. So it's flattened now, but apparently the stone circle that was built on that mound was aligned to Beltane on the 1st of May and had a cave underneath it. And I read that the entrance to that cave was behind a wall in a pub called the Merlin's Cave Tavern from the 17th century. And that's closed now, but from my research, it looked like it only closed in the 80s or 90s. So I don't know what's there now, or if the entrance to the cave is still bricked up, or if anything happens there. So another thing I wanted to mention was this Merlin connection. A lot of the work I've been doing lately on my channel, you see links into the Merlin energy. And places with Merlin in the name often have a magical or pagan association. So in Islington, there's this street called Merlin Street, and this was where that cave was at Pentonville that I mentioned. Okay, so that's a bit about Merlin. And funnily enough, I was on a bus today, bus I catch quite a lot, and I noticed one of the street names we went past was named after Merlin, and I'd never noticed that before. So it's nice when things like that come together in this sort of research. Okay, so next thing I saw on my walk, there's a building just next door. It's a big shopping centre. It's been there 12 years. Next door to St Paul's, called One New Change. So that's where I took, let me click back, this picture here. It's good in there. If you're ever looking for public toilets in the city, there's like big public toilets downstairs. And then if you go up to the 6th floor, there's this lookout deck. So there's a bar, cafe sort of thing, and this lookout deck with some really nice views. So that's One New Change. And up here on the lookout deck, I saw this mosaic, and I've looked into it a bit. It's called Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, and it's a mosaic. The artist was Boris Anrep, and he lived from 1883 to 1969. He was born in St Petersburg, but died in London and lived in London. He was part of the Bloomsbury Group. He's also got mosaics at the National Gallery, the Tate, Westminster Cathedral, which is near the Abbey, and a few other buildings as well. Now, I found some information about him on a website called learnreligions.com. Not about him, about Ariel. So Ariel is an angel. In the Jewish Christian archangel belief system, Ariel's called Uriel, and can appear as male or female, but usually female. And Ariel is the angel of nature, which I've been talking about a lot lately, especially with the Fae. So Ariel oversees plants, animals, and the elements. And Ariel means lion of God in Hebrew. So another connection there. Sometimes Ariel's depicted with a lion's head. Ariel liaises between the human world, Fae, and crystals. All topics I've talked about lately, so it felt very kind of fated to come across this and look into it. Ariel's colour is pale pink, hence the background colour I've chosen today. And another website I found, flowingwithangels.com, says that Ariel helps us remember our purpose. Ariel gives us the courage to step out of our comfort zone and move forward towards our purpose. So be like that lion with your foot on the globe and be confident and fearless. Okay, so Ariel. And I'm going to leave you in this video with this sculpture I spotted as well on Old Broad Street, just walking towards Liverpool Street Station. It's called The City Wing, and it's by Christopher Lebrun from 2009. And I think it's referred to as a bird's wing, but I also see this as an angel wing. And I will remind you to remember to feel your strong angel wings. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone, and I'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.